Where are we today?
So we are at Frontyard Brewing
Frontyard Brewing.
in Spicewood, Texas.
And who do we got with us?
Mike Porter.
Mike
What's
Porter.
up?
Mike Porter.
As in beer.
So
Porterhouse.
Porterhouse
Or steak.
Porterhouse Real Estate. So he's a farm and ranch specialist.
Yeah.
What do you like about farm and ranch?
Well, I like it because it's a totally different animal than selling residential, and get to see some beautiful property. A lot of windshield time. I love to get on the road and go, and I'll typically leave early in the morning and get back, mid-evening. But see some beautiful property, some beautiful animals, and meet some really interesting people. And ranches is more of it's not quite as an emotional deal as residential. It's more of a business investment, and people that are buying those high dollar ranches, I mean, they want to park their money in places that it's really going to pay off for them.
Right.
So it's less emotional and more business, which I like.
Yeah. I'd like to find a farm and ranch property. Where do you start criteria-wise for that?
Well, a lot of my business thus far has been developers, and it's just been strictly business oriented. But just like last night, I got a call from another agent east of Austin.
Okay.
He's got a buyer. He's got a guy that's looking for a ranch or a piece of property. And I asked him, so what's his criteria? And it's basically, I'm looking for water. I'm looking for up to 200 acres. I want big views. And I asked him, do you need city water? Do you need water wells? Is electricity important to you? Are you looking to build, or are you just looking to have a place to show off? And
You work with them?
all over Texas. I do.
Yeah.
I'll go anywhere. But thus far, I'm pretty much been in east of Austin, or not East Texas, but east of Austin. I have been down in East Texas around Tyler and Kilgore and around in those areas, and then mostly the hill country. Hill country is where I've sold most of my ranches thus far.
I mean, can it be 5 acres? Can it be 10 acres? Can it be 100 acres? What's kind of the typical farm and ranch?
Well, a true ranch is basically it's going to be 100 acres or more.
Okay.
And a ranch is more in tune to raising livestock, raising cattle, sheep, things of that nature, whereas a farm is more food producing. And they'll have large cleared out tracts of land with good soil, like it's mostly east of Austin.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a lot of farms west of Austin. It's just too rocky.
Just because of the soil content.
Yeah,
Different.
so farms is food producing, ranches is more, cattle producing and animal producing, livestock.
Yeah. What sets you apart from a residential, agent being specialized as a farm and ranch guy?
Well, of course, if you're buying farm and ranch or large tracts of land, not in all cases, but typically there's no structure on it, as far as maybe a barn or something. Some of them do have homes. In fact, this one I just recently closed in Kerrville, it had a beautiful house on it. And we had to treat it a whole lot like a residential deal in that we went inspection and all that kind of stuff, which is not norm.
Yeah.
But as far as buying, the way it's different is, you've got to consider water.
Okay.
You got to consider, is hospitals, schools, is that important to you? Because that's not something that's real prevalent.
Yeah.
I mean, they're outside of small communities, but it's not going to be like if you buy here in Spicewood and want to kids go to LTISD. It's not going to be that. So you got to understand, when you buy a ranch, it's typically far removed.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different than residential as far as that goes. And you got to understand how you're going to support a structure if you build a house, and and construction costs involved is because it's far removed.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of different aspects as far as just buying in town.
What are some of the concerns in the contract that you help protect buyers with in the contract?
It's not a whole lot different than residential.
Okay.
The only thing that's really majorly different is the option periods. Typically on an option period for residential, it can be as little as 3 days, it can be 10 days.
Okay.
On a farm and ranch, I mean, I've had them go as long as 4 months.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so they
Okay.
can go for long periods of time, but that's typically geared towards developers. They want to do all their due diligence.
Right.
Number one, what's the county going to say about building? How many structures can you build per acre? How many acres do you have to have when you're putting in a septic or a well? So, you know, you've got a lot of different things you got to consider.
And you're dealing with typically county restrictions or certain restrictions when it comes to what you can or can't do out there. That
Yeah,
you know, you
it's
need to
mostly
know.
county.
Yeah.
Especially with water being at a premium, everybody's sinking straws, which is, in other words, putting in wells.
Yeah.
And, you know, water's finite.
Yeah. It is.
So,
You've been able to specialize and find a little niche there and working with developers too.
yeah,
Right?
right.
Yeah.
Out of state developers.
Yeah.
And that's been a real education process because these out of state developers, they think it works in Tennessee like it does in Texas.
Right.
And it doesn't.
This is Texas.
That was an education process for them.
Yeah.
So it took a while to get them to
So just because they
understand.
have experience maybe in other land acquisition in different states, it does change when you get into a different state, different rules and regulations and stuff like that. I'm a person who's wanting to look for some acreage, 10 plus acres. What's the process of this? How do you start? What do you recommend as far as starting if you're interested in going outside and buying land for ranch purposes, for farm purposes, whatever? What's the process?
Well, it's almost like residential. You reach out to an agent that you know or has been referred to you.
Okay, like a trusted resource.
Like a trusted resource.
Right.
And you know, and as a realtor, you ask them the questions: what's important to you? What are you looking to do?
Yeah.
And find out what their criteria is. And you know, there's a lot of sites that any individual could really go to and look, but that doesn't mean it's going to tell them a lot.
Okay.
So, you know, and I tell them, I says, look, I know these properties. I've been to a lot of them. I've already seen them. I know what kind of country. I know how the county works.
Yeah.
I know what the restrictions are. So I can save you a lot of time in that you're going to be, oh, I like that ranch, but maybe you can't do what you want to do on it.
So the experience that you have.
So the
behind some of those
experience I
properties,
have,
yeah.
just knowing the counties and how they
Yeah.
work, and you know, how big of an acreage you got to have to build and put a septic tank on.
Yeah.
Most folks don't think of that.
Right.
So, and most ranches, it's all septic.
Yeah.
You know, it's very little with city water or city sewer.
Right.
So, you know, I walk them through that. I guide them through that, and I save them time by putting them on properties that fit their criteria, just like if you did on
Save
a
them a lot
stick
of time
built.
running around.
Yeah,
Just.
and it's a lot of time
Specifically.
on some of these places because they might be an hour out,
Yeah.
hour and a half out, 2 hours out.
Well,
Yes.
what's the financing involved in a farm and ranch? Is it a little
Well,
bit different?
yeah, it's a little bit different. There's not a whole lot of lenders that do land.
Okay.
Capital Farm Credit is one of them that's prevalent. I think a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
There's smaller banks like Star Bank and
Yeah.
here in town in Lakeway, they do that. So you kind of have to know who your lenders are and who will do land. And so it's not as prevalent as when you're just buying a regular house.
Right.
It's a little bit more limited, a whole lot more limited actually. So
Be ready when you're looking. What's it like out there?
you better be ready because these past 2 years, it has been extremely competitive. I've even seen ranches go in multiple offers. Multi-million dollar
offers.
ranches have gone into multiple offers. Some clients that I have worked with didn't move quick enough, and they're savvy dudes, and we lost deals because they didn't get on it. They didn't move quick enough. And people from all over the world, they know the hill country, they know Texas. I mean, all over the world.
So we're not just talking about the Texas
No.
buyers. We're talking. This is an international market.
It's an international market.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
people
would
are
agree.
parking their money,
Yeah.
especially with 1031. You know, that may or may not go away. I don't think it will, but it's
The
people are
1031
worried.
exchange.
Yeah, the
for the
exchange.
tax deferment.
And you know, with this administration, they're a little bit worried about that. So, you know, they're trying to get it under contract and in their portfolio before anything does change.
So Mike, how do you feel about?
Yeah.
So Mike, I got a question. Do I have to, in order to buy? I know I got to get financing. I got to go through the criteria. Do I have to own a pickup or wear a cowboy hat to buy farm and ranch?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. What beers y'all having today?
I'm having a lot. I'm having dark ale.
Dark ale?
Dark ale is what they call it.
Is it amber?
Amber ale.
Amber
Excuse me. Amber ale.
And what do you think about this?
It is really good. It's
That's your kind of beer, I heard.
yeah. I like heavy dark beer.
Heavy dark.
Good beer.
Imperial stout.
The Imperial Stout.
It's very stout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and stout.
I like my beer stout. I mean, Frontyard. This is
That's a
they
cool
brew,
place.
They brew everything here. I think what we
Nice
heard.
view out there.
We heard this place was going. It was under contract for a wedding venue, and then these guys came in and found out that it didn't. The contract fell through, and they purchased it, snapped it up, and man, they've got
A couple food trucks. over
food
there.
trucks, pickleball. They've got the beer place. They got the
What is this place over here? Wine?
That's wine.
Yeah,
That's
that's-
not just beer, it's wine too.
yeah. So that we can do like a wine and a broker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smells like a brewery. It smells like a brewery.
You got Kevin in Frontyard
Kevin here
Brewing,
at Frontyard.
the brewmaster, right?
Yep.
All right.
We keep 13 beers on tap and a couple in the wings at any given time.
That's a lot of
it is-
brewing.
Are you
Yeah.
distributing or is it all sold here?
We sell 90% of what we make on site. We've got a little bit of distribution, but we're working on growing that right now.
Yeah.
But we wanted to connect with people here on site first, and that was always a priority.
Where do you want to film? Why the name Frontyard? I'm always curious.
So the idea of Frontyard is we're trying to create a place where you just interact with people you don't even know, like very casual. Very.
Yeah.
Think about the difference between a backyard is you already know all those people. This is a place where you're meeting your neighbors. You know,
people,
and so,
people walking down the street. They
Yeah,
can
yeah.
Stop
So
by.
it's casual. It's just hey, why don't I sit by you and get to know you better? And
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do. And I think we're definitely accomplishing that. One person at a time.
Yeah.
But it's just been a great kind of concept. The lawn chair, kind of an impromptu hang out because we're using a foldable lawn chair as our
Yeah.
logo because
Yeah.
the idea is that take it, hang out with some people, get to know them. People bring their lawn chairs here all
Yeah.
the time, so it kind of works that
Oh, okay.
way. Yeah. We offer a unique experience at Frontyard. I don't think that there's many breweries around like us, and it's great. It's great for the whole family. So we really encourage families to come out and not just leave them somewhere, but bring them on with you. So
It really is approachable.
yeah,
It's not
yeah. We got a lot of place for people to play. We got lots of things for the kids to do, and we just try to create a great family-friendly atmosphere here. So come out and check us out and have a beer.
Beer in a broker. Beer in a broker. Beer in a broker.